Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, and we are back for another Married to Medicine review. I know, I'm so late, but I was extremely sick, still a little sick, but not to the point where I was before. So I wanted to make sure that I got this review out. So we begin the episode with the ladies arriving at a golf course where they are greeted by a professional golfer. So he's there to teach them how to golf. We see them get out there getting ready to golf, and the golf cart arrives. That is a bar, which is the title, Golf Cart Girls. Out of all things, this is the only thing that you could get for a title, but okay, we're gonna go with it. So rather than utilizing the professional golfer at first, they're gonna see who can hit their ball the farthest rather than aiming for the hole. They're just trying to see who can hit it the furthest. So they're making up their own rules. I personally would have rather went with the men because I have no desire to golf at all, but they did make this fun for the ladies. So we see the men, and they're going to be doing a healthy cooking competition. It's Team Eugene versus Team Cecil. Who planned this trip? Was it Simone and her family or Toya and hers? Because they're drinking Patron on the golf course, which is something that we know that Toya loves, and they're cooking for the men, which is something that we know that Eugene loves. Kima doesn't feel like cooking is manly, and Dr. G says he'd rather be golfing. Now, let me be clear. In my opinion, Kima and Dr. G are the same people. The only difference is that Kima doesn't hide his misogyny as much as Dr. G does, because when Dr. G speaks and talks about how he wants his food prepared, and we saw how he used to be with Quad, and some of those same things have been exhibited with Tisha, it's clear that he's this same person. He just does a better job at hiding it. So the men get to cooking. Meanwhile, we see the ladies on the golf course. Toya and Heavenly are tearing up the lawn. Heavenly claimed that she can do everything better than Toya. I don't understand why she's in this silent, competition with Toya, but they look about the same to me because they're both missing the tee and the ball and hitting the lawn. Simone gets up to swing, talks about how, you're supposed to be quiet while the person is golfing, even though Simone is probably one of the loudest, if not the loudest people in the group. So Simone hits the ball very, very far, but it lands in the lake. We see some others hit it in the lake as well. And we find out that Not So Sweet Tea ends up winning because she hit her ball the furthest, which was about 110 yards. Jackie says that, she's so busy saving the world that she doesn't have time for balls, and we get it. Jackie saves lives. I love Jackie, but sometimes it's like, okay, Jackie, just enjoy the moment. Back to the men. We hear Kima saying that the rice isn't done. We hear Cecil saying it's going to be okay. Meanwhile, they're complaining about the rice not being done. Eugene is plating his food. When they call time, you see Eugene throw his hands up in the air. He was living his best life. Sometimes I wonder if Toya really appreciates what she has, because Eugene really is willing to do almost anything, and she has a man that can cook. Do you know how great that is to have a man that can cook? I don't. No, let me not say that. He tries. He really does. He means well. Excuse me. The chefs say that they like both dishes, but we see that Eugene's team wins. One of the main reasons is because Cecil had undone brown rice that Kima told him needed more cooking time. In confessionals, Heavenly looks at Damon and asks if Dr. Eugene was on his team, and Damon says no, and she says, okay, well then you lost. I think that's cute. They already knew what they were up against. Maybe they would have won. Overall, it was nice to see both the men and the women enjoying themselves. So everyone is back at the house, and Eugene is asking Sweet Tea how she felt about being called a baby. She began to talk, but Dr. G kind of shut it down because he says it's over, and she apologized, and the ladies are getting along. I do not blame Dr. G for doing that, because that conversation needs to be had with Jackie and Sweet Tea. Everyone else, in my opinion, needs to stay out of it. They head to an 80-foot yacht where Dr. Simone promises to be on her best behavior. We get flashbacks of Simone yelling and hollering, and I'm realizing that sometimes I need to check myself, because listening to Simone and how annoying she gets when she's passionate about something is like nails on the chalkboard to me. It's just too much. So for some reason, on the way to the yacht, we see Phaedra talking about Dr. Kima and Dr. Alicia and how they don't like to participate in fellatio. Heavenly says that for her, that's a very big part of her relationship. And she begins to talk about like how important it is and all those other things. And Dr. Damon kind of shuts her down and says, we don't need to discuss it. And she says, sorry, Daddy. I absolutely love how he shuts her down sometimes. They are not perfect, but I do enjoy their dynamic. Now we see everybody arrive to the yacht and it is beautiful. Simone points out that it is one of the best ones that they've had, which it should be because it's been 10 years. Jackie is really enjoying herself to the point where she's even showing some skin, and she says that the yacht just brings out another side. Heavenly is honking the horn and she wants to drive the boat, but she quickly gets told no. It's just, lighthearted fun. So we see the men and the women talking. The men are in one section of the boat and the women are in another. Jackie is talking to Dr. Alicia and says, you couldn't have paid her to respond last night to what was going on with Sweet Tea, because if she had said what was going on in her head, it would have turned into something else. I guess for me, it would have turned into something else because I would have said what was going on in my head. But Jackie is just a different woman and she didn't want to engage in that. She says she does owe Sweet Tea apology for not getting up and popping her on her mouth like her mother should have. My goodness, Jackie. I like Jackie, but this is part of the problem. There is always going to be a division with these ladies because of their ages. Not saying that different generations cannot get along, but it is clear that they do not respect Sweet Tea and that Sweet Tea does not respect them. Sweet Tea was wrong for how she spoke to Jackie, but let's be clear that Sweet Tea is also not any of their children. So Jackie sitting there and saying that she wants to pop her or she should have popped her on the mouth, that's something that you would say when you're talking about a child. That's not something that you would say when you're talking about a grown woman. Now, Sweet Tea says to Toya that she doesn't like to tear women down and she was hurt by what Jackie said. Jackie, however, was not the only person who said something. So I don't know why she's just pinpointing Jackie here. Toya doesn't think that Sweet Tea needs to apologize because she said that Jackie provoked her. I don't think that Jackie provoked her. Getting something off your chest and saying to go ahead, get it off your chest doesn't mean that you have to say curse words. Use your words and articulate your feelings. That's the type of energy that Jackie's going to respect because that's how Jackie operates. So Toya tells her, now is a good time to go talk to Jackie. So we see Sweet Tea go to talk to Jackie and she's extremely close to her. Like she gets right up on her, which for me would have made me feel uncomfortable, but they talk it out. She said that she wanted Jackie to take accountability for what she did because she hurt her and that took her out of character. Sweet Tea's character is exactly who we saw. You know who you are. Who she seems to be to me is someone who goes from 0 to 10 very quickly. Look at what happened with her sister at her bachelorette party. Just like I know who I am, no one is going to take me out of my character. Now, if you say certain things to me, you may get a side of me that you do not like, a side that I may try to, keep suppressed, but understand that is a part of my nature. So no, Sweet Tea, you were not taken out of your character. That is your character. That is a part of who you are. Know your truth. So she tells Jackie she felt hurt. Jackie says, we were being mean to you. We made fun, and given the situation and how you were just coming into the group, it wasn't fair to you. Don't be hurt. I'm willing to let it go. She says, but you came out of like what you said when you said what you said to me. Jackie said, it was really It's really stank and it was really nasty, which it was. She says, however, I'm going to release you and hopefully you can release me. She tells her to be free, which to me is an interesting choice of words. I don't feel like this is an apology from Jackie. Sweet Tea thinks that Jackie is just a church lady and at her core, she's a good person. Jackie still does not see it for Sweet Tea because she did not apologize even in this moment. We then see the ladies come to serve their husbands their food, which a lot of women do. Dr. Alicia makes a joke and says, I'm here to serve you, puts her napkin in her husband's lap. Kima says, well trained. Jackie says, women are not trained, dogs are trained, which I agree, but I'm so tired of this storyline. Take Dr. Kima and Dr. Alicia off, or let's switch what we're talking about, because if she is all these things, a mother, a realtor, a dentist, why are we just focusing on this one aspect, which is her and Kima? Curtis says, I don't think he meant it that way. I don't really feel like he meant it either, because in that moment they were all joking, but I do feel like he does want his wife to serve him, and that's one of the things they probably talked about when they got married. Heavenly says, even though she works, she still does need to make sure her man is good. So she's going to do whatever she needs to do. I'm kind of old school, I guess, in that, because I agree with Heavenly. Jackie jumps in to serve Curtis as well. And Curtis feels like Jackie's just doing it because the other ladies are doing it, but he's going to enjoy it. According to Eugene, Toya lost points, even though she was the first one to get him his plate. She didn't kiss him when she gave him his plate. So Toya says, to the crewmate, can you ask the guys if they need anything else? And he tells them about the point situation. And she says, okay, what I need you to let him know is tell him that I'll give him a private kiss later on his private. So he goes and says that Eugene is excited about hearing that. Even says thank you across the table, because the ladies are at one table in another area and the guys are at another table, and she hears them and they're laughing, and Toya then tells the ladies that she's too tired to even do it. So Heavenly says, when we're about to eat, I don't want to think about no small body. Oh, Jesus. She wants a full meal and she doesn't want to hear about Eugene's little thing. At the ladies' table, this then turns into a discussion about fellatio and how Kima doesn't want it, and he feels like, according to Alicia, that she's too much of a queen to have her be down that low. I don't understand why we're so worried about this whole sex life thing, but leave it alone. Toya wants to know, like, maybe the reason why he doesn't want it is because you don't do it right. And Alicia says it's not that. Tisha says maybe she just doesn't want to do it. There are some women that don't like to do it. Heavenly says if she could put it in her ear for her man, she would do that to please him. That's Heavenly's truth. Just like there are some women who don't like it, there are some who thoroughly enjoy it, who rather give than receive. These are all about preferences. And let's be clear, Dr. Damon is a Q. And I've heard a lot of things about Qs, so I'm not surprised with what Heavenly is saying here. So Phaedra says, if that don't work, you can always get one of those rose toys because it's better than a man. I need Phaedra to be quiet. These are married women, so they need to be utilizing more than a toy. They really should be utilizing their husbands. Toya asks Alicia if she's allowed to use toys. Alicia is offended by the word allowed. Toya has a problem with him saying that, with Kima saying that Alicia is well trained. And Alicia said, he's just joking. But if you want to be technical, she is trained because she's a doctor. She's a realtor. She's a great mom. Alicia feels like these women wish that they could have her marriage. I personally wouldn't go that far. Alicia then tells Toya that Eugene needs to train her. I just want them to leave her alone. If it works for her, it works for her. Alicia feels like the problem is that Eugene can't train Toya. Of course, Simone has a problem with that because Cecil can't rein her in. Alicia says, get a collar on Toya and zap her, zap her, zap her. And Toya says, well, we do have a remote for that, but we put it, it's for our panties. The guys, on the other hand, are just happy that they didn't hear any arguing from the women. I thought it was going to turn into an argument, but they didn't. They come back to what Jackie calls a middle school slumber party, where Jackie says Sweet Tea should feel right at home because it's set up for the youth. Jackie makes digs about Sweet Tea's age the same way Sweet Tea makes digs about these ladies' age. You can't age shame her and then get mad when she does it back to you. It's petty. Simone says this evening is designed as the center of all of their couples trips because this is when they give each other advice and things of that nature. And I just want to know if that's what this is, why is Phaedra there? They're supposed to write on an envelope any major issues that are in the relationship. If they're really trying to help each other, I feel like it would be more beneficial to have someone who specializes in this there, but it went okay, so I'm not going to complain. Curtis says that their biggest problem in their relationship is social media. As soon as Jackie walks home from work, she has a phone. He wants her to prioritize. I feel like this has been an ongoing thing for them as long as they've been married, that Curtis does not feel like he's a priority. And at this point, can Curtis really complain about that when the girl seems to be home more than he is? Jackie, easy fix, put your phone down when you walk in the house. Put it down. Pick it up when he's busy doing something in the home as well. Toya says, you can't ask that of a doctor. Eugene says that when he gets home sometimes, he likes to just go watch TV and be by himself because he's been around people all day. And I get it. There are times when I pull, and I'm around some of my coworkers. I don't really have to talk to them that much, but I do have to talk to them sometimes, the bank, things of that nature. So I can get why you need that time to decompress. When I come home from work, I might sit out in my car for a good 10, 20 minutes before I walk into the house just to decompress, because I know as soon as I walk into the house, I got to engage with my child. So I get what he's saying there. He says that when she wants his time, though, he does not refuse her, even if that's something like helping her take out her weave. Then that becomes a whole discussion, because these men, some of them take it out, some of them feel like they don't need to. Dr. Naaman says, I can't even help with the class, let alone taking out their hair. I feel like if that's his way of loving on his wife and that's what works for them, that's what works for them. I would love for my man to help me take out my weave. Do you hear that, boo? If you're watching, I'd love for you to help me take out, my hair. Is this fuzzy or is this just my eyesight? Y'all, don't mind. It might have been fuzzy. It might have been my eyesight. I don't know. I'm still a little jacked up. Where am I at? Why are you looking at me like that? You want to help me take out my weave? Sorry, back to where, see, you made me lose my spots. To each his own. Do what works for you. Alicia says they would be further along to build their empire if they would work together. She says her husband invested a lot of money in stock, but she would have rather him invested in properties. His response is, yeah, so what? I don't understand why they couldn't do both. And I want to know who he's talking to. He says, I'm the financial person. I watch the money. At some point, she kind of agrees to it. Cecil says that the women do spend money frivolously. He points out how Simone bought that car that season. I really don't care about that. The next question is, do you feel like you're having sex often enough? Jackie says, we need more, but she's tired. Toya says, but you have the O shot. Jackie says, yeah, I have the QRS and all the other letters, but I'm still tired. Jackie, your man is looking like he has a problem with this. Your man cheated on you in the past because of time and not feeling like he was a priority. That is not going to work. He goes to the DR all the time. And I personally still don't trust Curtis. So you might want to think a little bit more about how you're operating. Not to say that she deserves to be cheated on, but you have to make sure that your person feels like they matter. Damon says for him and Heavenly is frequent enough and it's intense enough. He's satisfied. Eugene says that they're having it a lot more than they've had in a long time. Toya agrees. He says their communication has improved and he's friskier now because he's lost weight. He has more energy. He's not as tired. Toya just says that, she just wants it to be to the point where it's not planned. He was like, okay, well then if I wake you up, I wake you up. And she was like, okay, as long as you knock me out, then you can wake me up. Meaning if you wake me up, as long as we both satisfy each other, then I'm more than okay with that. Cecil says, we are in a better place, but we're not having it enough. Kind of like Jackie and Curtis. He says he doesn't care if he has to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he only gets 1 hour of sleep. He wants more. Simone, listen to your husband. Tisha says that they're having it enough, but it's more sporadic because of her endometriosis, and that he enjoys her hot box, whatever he calls it, crock pot. I don't remember, some funny name. And Phaedra says that her biggest problem is she's single and she's loving it. She says that she was in a relationship for a long time, since high school, and she's just enjoying this time by herself. And I don't quite understand, because Phaedra has been in other relationships since Apollo. You've been with, I think she was with Tigger at one point. Supposedly when she got on this show, she was with the African doctor. So what are you talking about, Phaedra? There's really no point in Phaedra being in this show. I don't even, like, she should have been a friend of, not a main cast, my opinion. Bring Quad back. You all let me know down below what you thought of this episode, which means leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Until next time.